Welcome to Smålandsstena, where we have landed 15 minutes after 4 local time.
Welcome to the Flying High Podcast, with inspiring meetings with people that got love for the aviation industry and passion for adventure. This is Sky Talk.
Hello and welcome to Sky Talk. So today we have my friend Kajsa here, and Kajsa and I used to work as flight attendants back in the days, and it was a great time, and I loved it. And now I live the flight attendant life through you. Yeah. So Kajsa, welcome.
Thank you so
to the
much.
podcast, and please tell us a little bit about yourself and where you grew up and what you do.
Yeah, my name is Kajsa, and I'm from Sweden, and I grew up in a small town called Smålandsstena. It's very small here, and for me, the aviation, the flight has been in my family from the beginning. My grandpa was flying, and my dad is flying, and my brother is now flying as well. Small
Cool.
airplanes, yeah. So they don't fly commercial, I think is the word, but they fly, smaller airplanes. And I've always loved the airplanes.
Yeah.
And also, I've always loved, since I live in Sweden, with this wonderful weather we're having here, I've always loved the sun and holiday and beaches and stuff. And since I was a kid, I went on holiday with my family, and I sat on these airplanes looking at the flight attendants like, oh, they are so beautiful, they are so nice and kind, and they seem to have so much fun. I want to be like them. I want to be one of them when I grew up. And then we came down to like the holiday resort, and I saw these guides in the hotels, and I was like, oh my God, they are living the best lives. Like they are here in the sun, taking care of the guests in the hotels, maybe guiding excursions. They're on the buses to and from the hotels and airport. And I was like, I'm gonna do that after school when I graduate. And I did. And I remember that day home in the kitchen in my family home here in Smålandsstena, when I got the email that I was selected. Yeah. Me and my mom were like, ah! We just screamed and I cried, and it was so big for me. It was like a dream come true, really. And that's the start of everything. Yeah, because then I did that for 2 years. I was in Gran Canaria and in Rhodes, Greece, and Menorca, Spain.
Nice.
And that was lovely. It was really the time of my life. It was so much fun. I grew so much as a person. I met so wonderful people, and I look back at these days like, it was such a good time.
Yeah.
But then I wanted to come home to Sweden, but I still wanted to do a little bit of the same. And since I was a kid, I wanted to become a flight attendant. I was like, I'm gonna apply. Now is the time. So I applied as a flight attendant for the same company that has this. It's a charter airline company. I applied, and I got selected. And that was again like repeating this. Oh my God! In email, I'm selected. I'm gonna go work for these guys.
Did you cry?
I cried. Yeah, I was so proud, and it was such a big deal for me. It was not like everyone has their own like, how did I end up in airline story, and for me it was really a big dream come true.
Yeah.
And almost like planned, but I mean you can't plan it because you never know what life brings you. But yeah, it was really a big dream come true for me.
And now you've been for 8 years with that airline, right?
Yeah.
And you were lucky enough to get your home base from start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was based in Gothenburg from start, and I'm still based there.
Yeah. And you started in the summertime, right?
No, like the education was in September, October, and then we
Okay.
started, in the
Yeah.
beginning of October.
Okay, yeah. Because
I had
usually when you work shorter, you work for on a contract.
Yeah.
So like
To begin with, we
seasonal.
had only the contracts, yeah. So every 6 months we had to cross our fingers, like, oh, I hope I get to stay. And I
Yeah.
was lucky, and we came in a good, like, the charter airlines went up.
Yeah.
So I got to stay through all the
Yeah.
contracts,
Yeah.
and
you
then
got to
I
stay
got
on your home base too.
yeah, and I got to stay
That's
because I know
awesome.
many of my colleagues, they have been having to like that's common in the aviation world that you
Yeah.
need to change bases. I know you had Oslo base and
Yeah, and
maybe Malmö,
Copenhagen.
Copenhagen,
Yeah, or Malmö, Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah.
Or I mean, the ones that have been changing bases, they get something nice out of that as well. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty much how we work in how we people are in the aviation. We are like, okay, let's do it this way now then.
Yeah.
We always seem to like find some positive way of seeing things when things doesn't go as scheduled, because that's kind of what you say, like
Aviation world.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
aviation.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't go as planned. You get a schedule change or on short notice, and you just okay, let's do it this way now then.
Yeah.
And that I really like. That's what I like the most about the airlines.
Yeah.
About the airline that or the aviation, that people are so positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you're a cabin manager.
I'm a cabin manager now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I'm like this year. It's 2024 now. I started as a guide 2014, like back to the guide years. I was so small and like and now 10 years later, I'm in the same company, but now as a cabin manager.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's fun and challenging and.
And it must be a good company too, because you're still with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
really like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the thing you say about the positivity, that's what I felt too.
Yeah.
Like everyone just solves the problems, and it was like some of the best years of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember our trip to Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of my best, like, looking back
Yeah.
trips.
And there we had we had to change our we were supposed to fly home as cabin crew, and then we had to change it and
Yeah.
fly because our airplane was stuck somewhere.
Yeah.
So we didn't have an airplane. So we had to fly as passengers
Yeah,
home.
I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's also, like, that happens all the time, that quick changes.
Yeah.
And you just, okay.
Yeah, and I was so nervous because I brought one of my friends with me.
I remember, yeah.
And I didn't know if she was gonna get a spot on the airplane because
No.
she didn't have like a crew ticket. She had
No.
a just yeah. So what airplanes are you working on?
I'm working on the Boeing 737 and Boeing 787, also called Dreamliner. And I used to work at the Boeing 767 as well, but we don't have it anymore.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh,
You
okay.
remember the
Yeah.
767?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet days.
I never got to fly in the Dreamliner.
No, yeah, because they changed.
Yeah.
And the Dreamliner is the bigger one that I mean, you know this, but yeah, that we fly to Thailand, for example, and Mexico, longer routes.
Yeah.
It can fly longer. And the 737 is the one we fly in the smaller, the not so long distances.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The shorter trips.
the shorter trips,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So how do I know that probably a lot of people wonder how to become a flight attendant? Do you have any tips for them or how?
Yeah, finish school. You need to finish. Is it called high school in Swedish?
Yeah,
the thing you do after 9th grade.
Yeah, yeah.
That you need to finish, and there is no
Like a specific program?
no
Yeah.
exactly in school that says that you become a flight attendant after this. But you need to finish school, and then you apply for each company and they have the internal education within the company.
Yeah.
And that's for me it was 6 weeks. I don't know if now they have shortened it up a bit,
I
but
think it's still 6 weeks.
yeah,
That's what I heard.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it was 6 weeks, and then you do that and then if I would, for example, change airline, then I would do the same, maybe a bit shorter because I have flying experience now. But each company has their own education
Yeah.
that you get to go when you are selected.
Yeah.
And if you would not pass it or make it through, then you wouldn't get the job either.
Yeah.
Because that's also common from each course, that someone drops off, or someone, maybe this was not for you, or
Yeah.
the person is himself or herself feels like, no, this was not for me.
Yeah.
That's also common.
And there's an age requirement too, right?
Yeah, I think you need to be at least. When I started, I think it was 21.
Yeah.
But now I think it's 19.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we've had some 19 years old.
Yeah.
And also I think there is a height limitation, and that's not because you're gonna be tall and beautiful like maybe back in the 60s. I don't
Yeah.
know, but you need to reach all the equipment and hat racks and everything.
Yeah.
On the 787, it's a big airplane.
Yeah.
So some stuff can be hard to reach if you're up here. So I think maybe you need to be 163 centimeters.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you're saying.
I can't remember. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
me
think
neither.
that's the normal.
We don't work with inches
No.
here. No.
Inch, like 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that? Maybe 5'3"? I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Yeah.
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 Google it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So so you just applied, and it was probably a benefit for you that you had been working with the same company
As a
prior.
rep, yeah.
Yeah.
Or a guide. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think, or that's just what I think, but I think that they like when people
Are loyal.
are loyal and they have been out in the world, and they are, if you've been working as a guide, you're flexible and you have customer experience.
And also, we are flying from all the Scandic air. Like my base is Gothenburg, but we can be scheduled from Helsinki or Oslo or Copenhagen. So it's always good to know the Danish or Norwegian and even some Finnish, and that's a big plus as well.
Yeah.
And then so I applied, and then it was some before even getting the job, there was an interview in English, and it was like a personal test on the computer, and some service test to see how service minded you are. So I think to solve out people,
Yeah.
So many people fell off, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So first you got to go through these steps, and then you were selected to come on a real interview. And funny story, I was so nervous. I mean, I was sitting there and I met this guy, and he was already working in another airline, some Swedish airline flying Swedish destinations only. And he was like, it's gonna be fine. And then, I was on my interview and I got the job, and I never met him. I was like, so poor him, he was so chill, you're gonna be fine. And he didn't get the job, it seems like, until I went to Thailand and I had a layover, several months afterwards. I'm down by the pool, tired, you've been flying. I'm like, there you are. Then he got the job, but he was based in Arlanda instead.
Oh,
And
okay.
he's back in Gothenburg now.
Oh,
so it's
cool.
we were on the same interview,
Yeah.
to begin, and then we didn't see each other, and I was like, he didn't got the job. But yeah, he did, but he was based in Arlanda.
Oh,
so I met
cool.
him by the pool. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember when I applied.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it was the same for you. First, it was an interview, and all the tests and all that, and then we got to go for a second interview at the airport. Did you have the same?
No, was second. No.
No, because what they told me was basically that if you get selected to the second interview, the job is gonna be yours, unless you're weird or something.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah. And then she told me to dress comfortably,
Yeah.
because we're gonna do a walk around at the airport. So I had my Converse shoes.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I need
Yeah.
comfy shoes.
Yeah.
And then I came to the interview, and everyone was dressed up, and they had high heels and little scarves, and I was like, oh my god.
Oh.
And then I found out that they were gonna select like half of us, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And I found that out like in the middle of the day. So then when I drove home, I was crying, and I was like,
I'm not
I'm never
gonna
gonna
get
get the
it.
job.
Yeah.
And funny thing was that one of the other girls who got selected,
Yeah.
we ended up sharing a house together, because
Oh.
it was not in Gothenburg, it was down in Malmö.
Yeah.
And she told me, she was like, yeah, I remember there was a girl on the interview who had Converse shoes. And I was thinking that she's never gonna get the job. I was like, that's me.
That was me.
Yeah. And I got it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because that's typical airline. Like you need to be dressed properly and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But you can kind of tell who's new as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
How do you tell if someone's new?
They are on fleek.
Yeah, yeah.
And also with the high heels.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was the one. Yeah.
yeah.
Because if you're new, these
Yeah.
are the high heels.
Yeah.
And then you've been working 5 years.
Yeah.
And then you've been like working 30 years.
Yeah.
Then it's like, yeah, these are my heels.
So your heels are about like 7
Yeah,
centimeters now? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm on 7. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then do you want to tell people what your workday looks like?
That's also one thing that's like what I like about this job. No day is like another day. There is not this Monday to Friday, 7 to 5. So all days look different. But for example, if I'm gonna fly now to, let's say, Crete in the summer, I have check-in early in the morning, maybe around 5 o'clock. And since I live long from the airport, I drive 2 hours in advance, and I go up like 1 hour in advance. So I've been up since 2. I go to work by 3, and I'm gonna start work by 5, for example, to have a departure 6:30. And then we meet up in the crew room, and we have a little briefing, and then we talk about the day, and we get this list in our iPads, what passengers are going to Crete today, and if we have someone in a wheelchair, for example, how many infants do we have? Is anyone allergic to something? Are they having special meals? And we go through all that. Also, is there anything in the tech log? If there is some problems with the airplane, major problems, that's a no-go for sure. But
Yeah.
if it's like some small thing, maybe a water boiler that's broken in the aft galley, for example, then we go through that. And also we go through different like emergency scenarios and medical scenarios. Like if this would happen, for example, if there would be a fire in a lavatory, what would we do? And where is the equipment for that? And what are the commands? And so that we always are prepared. And then we go out to the airplane and we go through security, and we have our own security. We don't need to stand in line for the passenger security, yes.
Nice.
So we go through the security, but we can bring our food, for example, and liquids and so that we need as a crew. And we go through and we come out to the airplane and we check the airplane. We on each like position, you also say on the briefing,
Yeah.
which position am I gonna work on today? As a cabin manager, you're working on the same position every day. In the 737, that's forward galley. In the 787, it could be forward or aft galley. We are always 2 cabin managers on the
Okay.
bigger
Yeah.
plane. But this was a summer flight, so this was on the 737. So then everyone, they do their checklist, like according to the iPad, you follow this so that you don't miss anything. Even though you do this often, you should always follow the iPad list so that you don't miss anything. And then we check, for example, that we have a AED. It's a heart machine, so that the battery is there and so that it's sealed correctly and in its place. And we check that the EMK, like emergency medical kits, are on board. For example, that those stuff.
Yeah.
And then when we've done that, we check the meal, that we have all meals that we are gonna have for the day. We prepare like the galleys, and we take care of the pilots, give them some water, maybe they want some coffee.
Yeah.
And then we start to board.
It's funny because you were talking about EMK
Yeah.
and like there's so many abbreviations
Yeah.
in aviation, and
Yeah.
then sometimes you get used to it. And we have one that's called OTP.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that means on time presence,
Yeah.
meaning you have to be in time.
Yeah.
Like if you're like to be in time, you should usually be like 10 minutes early
Yeah. Yeah.
at least.
Everyone is in the crew room early.
Yeah. And I was not.
Today.
I did not keep my OTP today. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we start to board.
Do you get to stay at the resorts when you or
yeah.
the other countries that you fly to?
Yeah, it depends on how long we're flying. If we're flying for example to Crete, which is from Gothenburg 4 hours approximately, and then plus 1.5 hour on the ground, plus 4 hours back home, we can do that in a day. That's legal and within the like limits of how long we get to work. But if we fly, for example, to Thailand, it can be, I mean, now when we can't fly above Russia and stuff, it can be 14 hours, it can be 12 hours, 13, it depends on winds and other stuff. And 14 hours one way, no, we can't work
Yeah.
double. And then we get to stay.
Yeah.
So now, normally in the winter, we are away more on layovers and get to stay in the destinations more than we do in the summer. And that's also what I love about
Yeah.
there. Like in the winter, that's lovely to get away, to get to see the sun and be in a hotel, eat the hotel breakfast, whatever. And then in the summer, it's so lovely to come home. I always love to come home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swedish summers are the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's lovely.
Yeah. So what destinations have you gone to during your 8 years in the airlines?
I went to Dominican Republic with you only once, and that was the only time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like I wondered am I banned from flying west or because I've done 2 Mexico only and 1 Dominican Republic.
Oh,
And then
wow.
I've done Thailand.
Yeah.
Really many Thailand. So I feel really home in Thailand.
Yeah.
And we fly to Phuket and to Krabi.
And you just got home from Mexico this weekend, right?
Yeah. And then I've been to Canarian Islands, all of them, Cape Verde, and also, of course, sometimes we have layovers in, for example, Norway, Helsinki, Finland, Denmark. So
Yeah.
and
Which one is your favorite?
Gran Canaria.
Yeah.
It's like people are expect to hear like some exotic, far away destination.
Yeah.
But for me, it's Gran Canaria. I love it. That's where everything started as a guide, and I've been there several times with my family, and I feel so home there. And I love the weather. I love the people. I love the food. I love everything about it. The flight time, the time difference, everything is so
Yeah.
good there.
So talking about, flying back and forth, I guess you got that question many times whenever you arrive in Thailand. Are you flying back home again now?
Yeah. Sometimes, like, you're so tired after this. Like, the eyes are like going on different ways, and the hair is, and you're sweaty, and it's like, oh, now we finally. Goodbye. Have a good holiday. Goodbye. Goodbye. Are you flying back home now? And we're like, does it look like we want to make that?
Yeah.
But I see that's just an honest question. But no, we don't. Yeah. So we get to stay there. And when we flew the 767, like to be legal, we had to have at least 3 local nights to rest down and to be able to work back again. But now, since we have the Dreamliner, we have this place on board. It's like a crew rest area is the name of it. It's in the aft rear of the airplane and up. So you go up on a little staircase, this little curtain, and a little, like, there is the seat belts, and so you get
Also,
to
there's
rest.
seat belts like in the bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
that's
need to,
cool.
because sometimes it's turbulence when laying up there. And due to this rest, we don't longer need to have 3 local nights. And that's both bad and good. I mean, working on the Dreamliner, it's such a different working environment with the air on board and everything. So it's worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, you feel more rested when you get down to Thailand, for example, or Mexico.
Yeah.
But still, you cannot skip the fact that you haven't been sleeping for so long. I mean, that's a big part of this job to be able to stay awake and still function.
Yeah.
Like
And to be able to sleep when you're supposed to
yeah,
sleep.
sleep on schedule. Like, oh my god, the time is in the middle of the day in Sweden where my head is, but here it's in the night. So now I need to sleep.
Yeah.
Or yeah, it can be tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember because when I was a flight attendant, whenever I got home, people were like, "Oh, you've been to Thailand and you've been on vacation, and and they don't realize that you've been working and you're so tired because you've been standing up for like 13 hours
Yeah.
and yeah,
It's like it, and that's also with how you design it yourself. I mean, nowadays with social medias, and I like the Instagram. I like to, hang out with my friends through Instagram and to like show my beloved ones in home what I'm doing away and everything. And I like to take nice pictures, and I see that it looks like I'm on holiday because they see the sunset, the good drinks, the breakfast, and the nice hotel rooms, and the pool and everything. But behind the camera of that, it's a person that has been awake for 28 hours, maybe, or that couldn't sleep because any reason. Yeah.
yeah,
So when you come home, you're like a mess,
yeah,
really.
yeah,
I'm, really tired when coming home.
yeah,
But still it's worth it. I like it anyway.
Yeah.
Because I like the feeling of being exhausted and then get to sleep on
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, and that's something you learn, I
Yeah.
guess. Like just like a person who works nighttime
Yeah.
learns to sleep during
Yeah.
daytime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You learn, and all of us, we often say that, like, we are so good to function even though we've been awake 24 hours, or we've been working 14 of them. We had one flight now during Christmas that was, it was delay and different stuff happened, and we had a duty period of uh, 18 hours and 40 minutes. That was not like planned that way because we don't get scheduled so long, but that happened for some reasons. And it was like that was our work. That's what people do in a half week.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
did it on one on
Yeah.
one
One leg,
leg.
or one, yeah.
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 So but we
Yeah.
work anyway, and we're still standing there, happy, serving
Yeah.
food, helping with stuff on board.
And that's, I guess, the backside of it all the glamorous thing is that you usually work Christmas or all the holidays. Yeah.
I'm having a family now. I have my man and my bonus son. And before that, I enjoyed working like midsummer and Christmas and New Year's because it was extra money. And for me, I've had my best friends in the flights, in the aviation.
Yeah.
So for me to be scheduled on something during New Year's Eve, that meant to be with my best friends and to earn extra money.
Yeah.
And to have extra good, like happy passengers on board
Yeah.
or so. But now that's really the backside of it. Like
Yeah.
to miss holidays with the family home.
Yeah.
That's hard to, when you have a kid that misses you, or a man, or it's really hard to, and you can feel so far away, being down in, for example, Thailand, and try to, oh, how was it on your dance today, or how was
Yeah.
it, to keep track of the days and to like get in touch with them and to mix like the time difference, and you just want to be there.
Yeah.
But that's also the positive thing, because when I am here, I'm here 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not at the work to 5 today, or I'm here all day. I
Yeah.
can leave at school, I can pick up at school, I can drive to if you go on, for example, dance, or what you do
Yeah.
after school. And that I really love, to
Yeah.
be like off in the middle of the week and 100% fully here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny too, the thing you mentioned about your best friends on board, because that's one of the things that I really loved when I was working. That whenever you work, you are working so many hours together. All of you get tired together, and then you're staying at a hotel together. So, like, you're crammed in with people
Yeah.
for like maybe 4 days in a row.
Yeah.
And then you're laying on the beach. You're basically like working and having a vacation
Yeah.
with someone, and you
Yeah.
get to know them.
Yeah. It goes really quickly. Like people are really open, like they tell you, you get close to each other because like you say, we work together. Maybe we are having a bad situation on board, or in the like I remember one colleague, she got sick, really sick, and we needed to go to the hospital and stuff. Like we needed to be there for her. Like if she would have been home, that would have been her family doing what we did for her. Or one girl, she was robbed. This was many years ago, but still we needed to go to the police station and do stuff, and that would also be something that she would do with her family home. But her family wasn't there, so we needed to do that for her.
She had her aviation family
Aviation
there.
family, yeah. So you get really close, and that's both because we in general are open as people, but also like you say, we work so many hours together in small space. You are really close to each other, and you go through it's so many hours. You go through so many stages of like with
Life.
life. Like, oh, I'm so tired, oh, I'm so happy, oh, you know. And it's hilarious.
Yeah. So have you ever accounted like any emergencies on board or anything weird?
I've had some medicals, but not like airplane emergencies. But I've had some serious medicals. That's not a good day at work.
Yeah.
That's like not nice for anyone. It's
Yeah.
not nice to handle, or it's not nice, of course, for the person or the person's family. But I haven't had, luckily, any like airplane emergencies.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because you find the Dreamliners.
Yeah, it's a dream.
Yeah.
But of course, we've had like what we call technical problems, but not like any.
No doors falling off.
No,
or...
not like that. No.
No.
But we've had technical issues, of course. But maybe on ground before flying or after landing, or we cannot take off because of this. But nothing that's been a major problem.
Yeah.
In flight.
It's so, I think a lot of people think that flight attendants are just there to serve coffee and look pretty.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how many medical issues you get to handle, and you're kind of like medical professionals in one way because you get to do it all the time.
Yeah. The most common thing is fainting.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not serious stuff, but the heart is also quite common. Older people traveling with bad hearts. Also, one time I had...
Oh, yeah, and like epileptic.
yeah. And that was so... Like, he was fine, but he bit himself, so he bled through the... Like, here in the face, through the mouth, and he peed himself. This was a father of... And his kids were so scared to see this, like blood in his
it looks
face.
scary.
And I mean, it was embarrassing for him afterward. Like, that's not nice. And also before you, I mean, we're up in the air. We have this company we can call from there, like medicals online, to ask about stuff. And we also have all the equipment that we would need. Like we have, so we can check the pulse and with the heart and everything. But all the times when I've had medicals, I've been asking for help from a professional medical, like a doctor or so. And there has always been one on board to help us.
Yeah.
But that's not fun.
No.
I once landed with unconscious man on the floor. He was back in the galley. And we were out, and I just saw, I looked back, and I was like, I saw, there's one aisle, and I just saw legs. And people sometimes go back in the galleys or forward in galleys to do whatever yoga positions and stretch and lay down. And it's like, it's not really allowed to lay down on the floor for several reasons, but I could see from out in the aisle, like, that's not the man laying down.
Doing yoga.
No, that's an unconscious man. And I came there, and no respond, and he was just, blank. Whew, that was scary.
Yeah.
And he was on the way to Turkey this summer, actually, and we had this nurse,
professional
nurse, and she helped us, and also a firefighter helped us, and that was scary. And he got to lay like that until landing. he came a little bit like his eyes were rolling and he could say some stuff and then he could not, and he went in and out from conscious. But when we landed, they came and like carried him off.
Yeah, because that's the thing, you don't get to like follow up
No.
on the people. That's awful. I remember, but that's also one of the parts that you train for all
Yeah,
the time,
yeah.
right? Because I remember we also had a guy who became unconscious as we were on the runway, and we actually had to start using like
The heart starter.
CPR.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it took 6 minutes from that we found him until they had like every crew member did their part. So like some of the crew went and helped him out. One of the crews talked to the pilot who talked to the tower.
Yeah.
And then so it took 6 minutes from that we found him until he was off the airplane with like a EMS nurse.
That's good. I
Yeah.
was like getting chills.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good. That
Yeah.
was the best place to become unconscious
Yeah.
before airborne.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Joke. But yeah.
But that's sick because that's what you do on the crew training, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we, like you said, we all have, we are trained in different roles, like all situations that could happen, if it will be a medical or a fire or another emergency. We have like different roles to take. Like you said, there, communicate to the pilots. That's really important because they are in there behind closed doors. They don't know what's going on out
Yeah.
there, and they need to talk to the tower or to like maybe we need to do an emergency landing, or maybe we need to go somewhere with a great hospital, or like in your case, not take off.
Yeah.
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 So we're trained in that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's a lot of hierarchy in the airlines?
Not our airline. I cannot say how it is in other airlines in other countries, but that's also one part of the like what we talk about in training and in other occasions when we meet to train, like we do once a year, to talk about CRM, cabin resource management, like you said before, with the three letters all the time.
Yeah.
To not have this like the captain knows best all the time.
Yeah.
He knows a lot, but you should never be afraid of asking or afraid of tell your point of view or
Yeah.
because that could many flight accidents could
Be avoided.
be avoided.
Yeah.
If there is a good CRM within
Yeah.
the crew
Yeah.
or within the airline.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, in our airline, I know that in some airlines from other parts of the world, it's like the captain always work in the front and the cabin crew afterwards, and the captain has the last word, everything. But we don't have that. I don't know if, I think it's just a policy like within the company and in which part of the world we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that a lot of pilots they want, in China, they want Scandinavian pilots
Yeah.
because in Asia, it's a lot of hierarchy.
I can
And
imagine. Yeah.
and in Sweden it's not.
Yeah.
So like in China, the first officer might not be able to tell the captain when something's wrong,
Yeah.
because he's too scared, versus a Swedish or
Yeah.
Scandinavian pilot would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard on these training occasions records from the cockpit or flight deck on where the co-pilot is telling, should we really? Yeah, like the captain cannot take that he has some.
That he's not right.
Yeah. So, and then it was a flight accident. I mean, if you've been working 1 year as a cabin crew and you see fire or like smoke from the engine, he couldn't even see the engine from, I mean, the back of the engine. You should never be afraid of pick up the handset like, hey, it's me on this position. I just wanted to tell you that this is what I see. Is there something you should never be afraid of that, because that could stop, or you could avoid an accident by having good like CRM.
And that's one of the things I think a lot of passengers don't realize, that some of the things that you do is actually for the benefit of them.
Yeah.
Like keeping the window blinders open
Yeah.
before takeoff.
Yeah.
So what's the reason? Do you want to tell them why
Yeah,
you do that?
it's like you should always be able to see in the airplane if there would be an emergency, because there has been accidents where curtain has been down, and when other airplanes, like they don't know how does it look in the cabin, is it fire, is everyone passed out, is there smoke, is there, like, that's one of the reasons. And also to get your eyes used to whether it's day or night outside, because it takes half an hour to use your eye to darkness and 10 minutes to get your eyes used to brightness. I mean, that's if we would need to evacuate and everyone got out blind, like can't see
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
That's one of the
Bad
reasons.
day.
Yeah.
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 So, do you want to tell us like some weird things that passengers have asked you or done on board, or just like annoying things?
Yeah. Yeah. One weird thing that we laugh a lot about is the lavatory door. How hard can it be? I mean, it's every single time. They
Yeah.
have such struggles to open it, like from outside. We have on different aircrafts, there is different doors. This normal little thing, it's like a handle, but you can't grab it, but it's it's
Yeah.
a handle. And it's like, how does it work? And we're like, it works like a handle. It takes down, I don't know how hard it can be. And on the other there is this foldable door, and there is a sign, it's a hand, and it says push.
Yeah.
What
Pretty
do you
straightforward.
think you do?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you take your hand towards the hand where it says push,
Yeah.
and the door falls up. That's like not annoying. It's like funny. Yeah, we see it every flight, like so many times. That's funny.
Did
Do you
you-
remember anything like?
Yeah, I remember so many weird things.
Because maybe you get
Yeah,
my
yeah.
memory.
I remember, whenever you pushed the trolley,
Yeah.
and you want to push it forward a little bit
Yeah.
so that you can take a few rows. Yeah, and everyone's like, think that you forget them, and sometimes they would grab my apron
Yeah.
and like hold my apron. I'm like,
I'm
do
not
you do that
going
at a
anywhere.
restaurant too? Like people get weird when they board airplanes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Sometimes they check in their brain.
yeah, yeah. And one time I remember there was a little boy who didn't want to go use the lavatory. Maybe they didn't know how to work the door.
Yeah, maybe.
They bought this little, what do you call it, that they pee in?
Oh, like a potty.
Yeah,
Or-
like a little potty thing.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think like 8 years old.
Oh.
It was a
was too
kid,
big,
but it was
yeah.
way too big. And
Yeah.
then I didn't realize until they came up to me with a thing into the front galley and asked me to like, can you
Pour
take
this out?
yeah, can you pour this out? I was like, no, I'm not gonna touch that.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was weird.
That's so common. This is my kid's puke.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like, handle your own, like, human liquids.
yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
best. Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever you board your passengers,
Yeah.
do you judge them?
Some people do, yeah. I would say I don't judge them, but I watch them, if that makes sense. Like, we have something called able-bodied persons. So if we would need help in a emergency situation, or if anything would happen that we would need help for, we maybe spot out, he could be a good able-bodied person, or maybe, he seems a bit drunk, maybe we need to, or I don't like his attitude towards his wife, maybe we need to check on them so that they won't be a problem during the flight, or he doesn't look like healthy, he looks like he's maybe vomiting, maybe we should
Yeah.
see how he's really feeling, or so. We've had really drunk passengers that I've had to deny them to board,
Oh, yeah.
because they have been too drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also talking about the like couples fighting. I've had this. I've had more, but one of them was it was on a flight from Helsinki to Cape Verde. It was this man. He was a real like women hater, and he was so mean to both me. I was the only like girl in the crew that day, young girl. He was really. He called me pussy,
Oh,
like
wow.
bad words. Yeah,
Yeah.
and also his wife or girlfriend or whatever she was. We needed to like move her away from him
Oh my
because he
God.
was so he was really aggressive and
And they were going on
drunk.
vacation.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I remember
Poor
when I
girl.
was a guide. This was not in aviation. This was when I was a guide. I was having service in like service hours on a desk in a hotel, and up to me comes this lady running with like fast packed stuff, like hair everywhere, and look really stressed. When is the next flight going back to Stockholm? I think it was. I was like, what? Because her husband was hitting her,
Oh,
and
wow.
he was really. She was like, I've had enough now. I need to leave. I'm gonna
Yeah.
die otherwise.
Oh
I'm
my
getting this.
God.
Yeah,
Oh, you give me the chills
yeah,
now.
and we've had also like denied return flight due to bad behavior on
Yeah.
board or on the flight outbound, and then you get denied inbound flight, or if you have been behaved really bad in the hotels, you can get denied inbound flight. Yeah, sometimes you spot this like not so nice stuff on
Yeah.
board.
So, sex on an airplane. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
What do
in
you
the
think?
movies.
Yeah. 10,000, what do you call it? Mile High Club.
Yeah,
Yeah. Have you
that's
ever
like
experienced it?
no. I have never heard anyone like been doing it. I've heard crew that has seen like stuff happen, like they caught a couple going into the laboratory together and then looking really
Suspicious.
suspicious or funny afterwards and so. But I think maybe that's more like I can believe that that was when it wasn't so common to fly. That was a bigger thing back
Yeah.
back in the days, because now people are so used to fly. I've seen some blankets jumping, but like can I say these words? But yeah, like hand jobs and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been suspicious. Is that a hand job? Oh,
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything like disgusting.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah. It's not like you're like grabbing their
No,
blanket.
if they wanna do that, if it's, I mean, normally in night flights when it's dimmed cabin lights and so, if they wanna do it, do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like maybe back in the days as well that there was this flirt between flight deck and the cabin crew.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not like it's not like that. Like in the I'm watching this
Love is Blind?
no, like Panam.
Oh, yeah.
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 And then it's like this flirt going on between the flight
Yeah.
deck, but I mean that's in the 60s
Yeah.
or 70s, maybe 60s, I think. I don't believe it's like that anymore.
So how's
At least
the-
in our company. I
Yeah.
don't know in other companies. but
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Thank
It
you so
was-
much too.
It was lovely to have you.
Lovely
And
to have you.
hopefully it doesn't take this many years before I see you again.
No.
And maybe in the future we might get some more questions.
Yeah.
So I might see you again on the
Yeah.
podcast.
I'm glad to see you too. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you too.